City Sportscast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
Good morning, everybody. We're live.
What's going on, Joe? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
I was a little frozen. What's going on, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? Of course, this is the Alamo City Sportscast coming at you from two different cities today. Joe Garcia is in the west side of San Antonio. I'm on the north side of Houston, just outside of Houston right now in Conroe, Texas. Going to be taking the show on the road the next couple of business days because I'm working in Houston today. I'm working in Houston on Monday. I'll be working in Corpus Christi on Tuesday. So wherever I'm at, I'll be doing the show from because, again, I have a business in finance, and I go where the business takes me, right? Joe Garcia is producing today's show. We're going to have a special guest at 10:30. We're going to have Johnny Walker, former Texas Longhorn great, former Holmes Husky great, member of the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame will be on. Mario Cavas is already reminding us that it's Friday the 13th, and we don't give a damn, he says.
Yeah, we don't give a damn. It's Friday the 13th, man. It's either good luck or bad luck.
Oh, I'm born on the 13th, baby. Wait a minute. So I'm born March 13th. Today it's September 13th. That's 6 months away. I'm 6 months away from my 48th birthday. So does that mean tomorrow I officially become, because I'll be beyond 47 and a half, I become my late 40s? Is that what just happened? Is that what just happened? Right?
You're already in your late 40s. And once you hit past 45, you're done, bro.
Oh, man. 44 to 47 and a half is mid 40s in my eyes when it comes to it. But we're talking about UTSA taking on UT this weekend. We're going to preview that with Johnny Walker. Johnny's also going to talk to us about the Dallas Cowboys and the NFL season. Week 2 already underway. Yesterday, Buffalo Bills spanked the Miami Dolphins. We talked about this. We knew that the Bills were going to go in there and spank that Dolphin ass. But what we didn't know was that Tua was going to get hurt again. Third quarter, concussion again, the third of his career. He had 2 back in 2022. Now the big question is, what's going to happen to his career? Is he going to be like an Andrew Luck who retires in his 20s because of so many injuries? If you remember the last time he got concussed back in 2022, what did he say? He thought he was going to retire.
Yeah.
Now that whole season is in jeopardy right now. Lots of drama when it comes to the Miami Dolphins. Week 1, Tyreek Hill got pulled over and he got dragged out of the car by the cops. Week 2, Tua goes down with another injury. They asked head coach McDaniels what the timeline was for Tua. Guess what he said? We haven't even thought about it. We have no timetable when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa. But last night, Buffalo Bills whipped up on them. I believe the score was 31-10, and it was over in a hurry. It really was. Now, Tua got hurt late in the third quarter, 4th and 4 in the red zone, trying to pick up a first down. He did pick up the first down, right? The pressure came, didn't find a receiver. He darted his way up the middle, dove head first for the first down, which is, again, if you slide, they spot the ball at the start of the slide. He had to dive to get the first down. Damar Hamlin, if you remember Damar Hamlin, who was the guy that had cardiac arrest and literally died on the field and had to be resuscitated from the Buffalo Bills a year and a half ago. He was the one who hit Tua, and it wasn't a dirty hit. He didn't like launch into him. He just made sure that he was down, and it was almost like Tua like ran into him head first.
Yeah, he needs to learn how to slide, man.
Or do something. I mean, we've seen injuries to like Robert Griffin III. Robert Griffin III should be playing in the NFL right now, but he didn't know how to give himself up. And Tua trying to go for the first down, but he went like a yard or two beyond the first down marker. So it's not like he was going for that extra inch. He'd already made it. So it was pretty scary yesterday. The big question is, what should Tua Tagovailoa do now? Should he retire? Should he go the route of Andrew Luck? Because I remember when Andrew Luck retired, what was he, 28, 29 years old? Everyone was confused. Like, what are you doing? And Andrew Luck said, I want to have a future with my family. I want to have a future with my kids. I want to be able to walk. It is all about quality of life. I love myself more than the game. And I respect Andrew Luck for that. But that's not the mentality of a lot of these players. A lot of these players don't know anything other than football. That is their identity. And to see Tua Tagovailoa get injured again, a third concussion. Remember back in the day, Troy Aikman with all those concussions? You're a Cowboy fan,
Yeah.
Joe. It almost seemed like every year. I don't even know how many he had. He had to have at least had 5. It happened all the time.
Yeah, man. He had too many concussions, and unfortunately for Troy Aikman, it ended his career because he has sisters that are in the let's say the medical field. I believe they're nurses, and he went ahead and consulted with them, and they told him it's time to go ahead and hang it up, man. You had a good
Yeah.
career, you had a good run, but you know what? If you want to keep moving forward and be able to enjoy life after football, gotta hang it up. Maybe that's what Tua needs to do because Tua, he has a family, he has kids, he's a dad, right? So at this point, if you've had that many concussions, the helmet will protect you from getting your skull bashed in, but it's not going to protect the brain. You know what I mean? So at some point,
Yeah.
you got to learn how to just call it quits. Maybe just go and be a dad, be a husband. You had a good career, man.
Be a coach, do something. Sam Slice
Yeah.
reaches out to us and says, Andrew Luck is happy and never looked back. Good for him. I mean, that
Yeah.
is the thing. Andrew Luck, you never see Andrew Luck say that he regrets the decision that he made to not do the NFL lifestyle anymore, because there's a lot of machismo that goes on when it comes to NFL. There's a lot of peer pressure to come back. That's what you're taught, right? Walk it off. Be a man. That's what you're always taught. But at the end of the day, these are human beings. And you see what happens to NFL players, man. NFL for so long fought against CTE. There was a doctor 20 years ago who discovered CTE in NFL players. So what did the NFL do? The NFL didn't say, hey, we're going to try to make things better. They tried to discredit that doctor. They tried to discredit that whole report. And what happens years later? Turns out that CTE is a real deal. You had a player who killed himself, shotgun to the chest, and said that he wanted to donate his brain. He wasn't going to pull a trigger to his head. He was just going to kill himself a different way and donate his brain to CTE research. And it turns out that he suffered from it tremendously. CTE it's one of those things where people become suicidal, people become violent. They can't control their emotions. They can't control themselves.
Yeah. Case in point, look at Mario Cavazos just said.
Yeah. How many undisclosed concussions did Junior Seau have that led him to kill himself? Exactly. By the way, I'm looking it up. Troy Aikman, number of concussions he had, 10.
Jeez, bro.
He had 10 in his NFL career. The last one was a hit by linebacker LeVar Arrington of what was called the Washington Redskins back in the day.
That's
and that
pretty
ended
much
his
it.
career.
And we also
I remember Steve.
Go ahead.
I remember Steve Young back in the day was somebody who got hit a lot. But again, you're looking at Tua Tagovailoa. It's one of those things where if it happens once, it's going to happen twice. And they're saying, I'm looking online right now as to the player that had the most concussions in his NFL career. It wasn't Troy Aikman. It appears to be that the player that had the most concussions in NFL history is Brett Favre. Brett Favre, that criminal.
And look at this, man. I'm going to go ahead and share this screen here. But Ian Rappaport's reporting about an hour ago, Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel says the team is moving forward with Skylar Thompson, but will sign a quarterback for depth. As for Tua, the best thing I can do is not assess what this means from a football standpoint. He added, timelines give anxiety. So for now, they're moving on from Tua, probably just to let him recover and reassess what's going to happen with him. And there were other scenarios that were out there I saw in regards to the timeline. If they're going to wind up keeping him on, are they going to wind up moving on from him? If they do, what does that look like? How much is he owed? As far as restructuring the deal, the contract, if there's a buyout, that kind of thing. I think these are all things that the Dolphins are considering at this point in time. And we also do have a $5 incoming super chat from our good friend, Tex-Mex Frank.
Good morning, Tex-Mex says, Buenos dias, amigos. Appreciate the show. Let's get a happy Friday. And puro pinche Cowboys grito. Who wants a grito? He paid for it.
Grito. He paid for the grito.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, let me go ahead and share the screen here because that's going to be funny. We have to do things a little different here today because we're not in the studio per se with Mike, you know. So let's go ahead and play this one since it's Cowboys. There we go.
Very nice. Very nice. Mario Cavazos coming out and saying, I don't remember Troy clenching his fist or making scary motions after getting concussed. They're not all the same.
No, man.
They're not all the same. Some are worse than others. Who brought up Junior Seau. I mean, that was a guy that was so revered in the NFL. He was such a great player, and to see him die the way that he did was awful.
Look at Chris
You,
Gonzalez. He says Eric Lindos had like
yeah,
14.
Lindros in the NHL. Yeah, he had 14. You take a look at like just players from the past. I mean, back in the day, we used to watch Sports Illustrated would have those videos of like the greatest hits in the NFL, and each one of them was like a train wreck. Each one of them was a concussion after concussion. The NFL marketed concussions as though it was a good thing.
Yeah.
Think about how times have changed. Think about that because the NFL going out and having the nastiest hits, the greatest hits, and they were all cheap shots. Hines Ward, who was the head coach of one of the San Antonio minor league football teams, I don't care which one it was, but Hines Ward was the biggest thug when it came to it all. I hate using the word thug, but any guy, white, black, brown, who does that is a thug. And you saw what happened with Hines Ward. Hines Ward, the ball would get intercepted, he'd go after the head of the person that was next to him. Even if they were on the opposite side of the field, not even going after the play, he would go and say, "Oh, this is my opportunity to launch into your head."
Yeah.
Hines Ward was a dirty ass player. And that's why when they were like, "Oh man, Hines Ward's coaching the San Antonio whatever our team." I don't pay attention to any minor league football that comes to San Antonio. Brahmas, Commanders, whatever. Screw all of them. I don't care. They're not going to last. But when they said Hines Ward was the coach, I was like, "Oh great, we got a dirty player." That's what I thought when I saw it happen. But the NFL hiding CTE for so long, and now we're looking at Tua Tagovailoa, who almost retired 2 seasons ago and was brought back onto the field so quickly after having the first concussion that year. Some people can't take it, man. Some people have harder concussions than others. And once you start getting them, you become more susceptible to the next. And what is that? It's a crack in your skull, right? That's a concussion, essentially?
Well, no, it's the brain hitting the front of the skull.
Okay.
So it's like your brain, it sits in that let's say fluid, right?
Right.
That's in your skull, and it just cradles it there, right? So when you get a concussion, the brain snaps back and hits the skull in the frontal lobe area,
Yeah.
and when it does that, it's basically giving you a bruise inside, you know, inside your skull. Your brain is bruised at that point. And of course, you have various different types of symptoms, anything from ear ringing to headaches, vision impairment, that kind of stuff. But the long-term effects is what the NFL was doing, or that doctor was doing I guess that whole write-up that he did years ago, you know, hey, could be, you know, something that lingers on. If you have enough of these, you know, you're going to get that CTE, you know, kind of stuff that we know now is actual truth. It wasn't just, oh, this is just something that somebody made up. These are actual facts that have been proven now. So we don't know what's going to happen with Tua in the long run as far as him getting older. He could have various effects on the brain that we don't know yet, you know?
And it's very sad whenever you see these NFL players have these long-lasting injuries. Look at Earl Campbell, Tyler Rose, right? The Longhorn, great. Houston Oilers, great. I got to meet him. The guy can barely walk,
Yeah.
right? The guy was a big, powerful bruising back. They used to say that back in the day, the Oilers had only 3 plays: Earl to the left, Earl to the right, Earl up the middle. That's all they had. And now he can barely walk. I don't even know if he's still alive, and if he is, it's not the greatest quality of life. I got to meet him years ago, got an autograph from him. He signed a book of mine, one of his biographies. You look at other players. I got to meet some NFL players in Phoenix and Los Angeles during Super Bowl Radio Row when I was over at San Antonio Sports Star, and you see these legends. They wear the gold jackets, the Hall of Fame jackets. They might only be 50 years old, 60 years old, but they walk and look like they're 10, 20 years older. And these players are doing it for our entertainment. We see these players who've come out and say that these hits are that they're getting repeatedly are like getting in car accidents time and time and time again. So it's amazing when you see certain players, you know, be okay. We saw Tom Brady doing the broadcasting the other day. Tom Brady seems to have survived it, right? But he has a lot of teammates that he won Super Bowls with who are going to have miserable lives because they didn't make as much money. And you know for a fact the NFL is not going to take care of them. The
No,
NFL has to
man.
be shamed in taking care of their legends. It's crazy, man. It's also other sports, boxing, MMA, WWE, all the wrestling, right? There's a lot of concussions going on, and it's all done for our entertainment. At the end of the day, it's all done for our entertainment, and it's just part of the game.
Yeah,
And
look
it's
at
not going to
Mario.
go away.
Mario Cavazos is saying, was it ever mentioned how many concussions that the great Muhammad Ali had? It may led to what became of him.
Yeah. The NFL is changing certain rules. We see this right now with the kickoff return, which I can't stand. It's so brutal to watch the kickoff return where they have to stand still and then they can't move until someone starts running. And there's a landing zone and all return zone or whatever they call it. It's so stupid. But why are they doing that? It's because they found that a high percentage of their concussions were coming off of what? High percentage of injuries are coming off of what? Special teams. Because you have players who are running from the 40-yard line all the way 60 yards down to annihilate somebody who's catching the ball, getting a 50-yard head start and running towards them. At least in this sense, there's not as much momentum in what they're doing. So I guess the NFL is making some moves. We do see some NFL players who are starting to wear different types of helmets. I saw an article. I didn't really go deep into the article, but
Kind of lost the audio there, Mike.
it
There you go.
looks weird because it's like a shield around it. It's like it's like an absorber around it.
Yeah,
Whatever
it
they have
almost
to do,
looks
it's going to
like an
change.
airbag.
Yeah, yeah. It's like yeah, it's like an airbag. It's like a pillow over the helmet, right? So
Yeah.
so we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But the Bills got the win. Bills now 2-0 on the season. Josh Allen looking pretty good. They got a pick six. They scored on another. Well, as a result of another turnover, the Tua had. Tua's interception in the first quarter was not really his fault. It bounced off the hands of the receiver. Got taken back. You might actually ask the question. If you're down 24 points, what are you doing in the game late in the third quarter?
Yeah.
I can see keeping them in there a little bit longer to the start of the fourth because we saw, for example, Aaron Rodgers get pulled from the game the other day once it got out of hand. Could you have said the same thing for the Dolphins? The Dolphins weren't going to come back to win that game, right? They were down 3 touchdowns. They weren't going to come back to win that game. But Tua going for the first down on 4th and 4. And Damar Hamlin, you got to feel for Damar Hamlin because of all the cardiac arrest and all that he went through. But it's not like he did anything wrong. He just made sure his guy was down. Damar Hamlin did not do a dirty play. It was just an unfortunate one where the momentum of Tua Tagovailoa went towards the lower body of Damar Hamlin, and he pretty much concussed himself when it was all said and done. Jesse A talking about the Guardian cap. That's exactly what it's
Yeah.
called.
That's what Mario Cavazos was saying. Tua should have been playing with those Guardian helmets.
Yeah. So let's talk more about the NFL. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be hosting the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. It's a noon kickoff. Houston Texans playing a Sunday night game on ESPN. It's going to take on the Chicago Bears. Who is more likely to win? Cowboys against the Saints or Texans home against the Bears? I would argue that the Texans against the Bears is the easier matchup because Caleb Williams threw for just 93 yards. Yes, he has weapons around him. He has good wideouts that were brought in over the offseason, has a good running back. Yes, he has weapons, but Caleb Williams looked like a deer in headlights his first game as an NFL pro. Got the win. Jaden Daniels looked better for the Commanders. But if I'm looking at it right now, I think the Houston Texans have an easier road to a victory compared to the Cowboys. And I'm not saying that as a Cowboys hater. I'm not saying that as a Saints fan. I'm just letting it know that when I look at it right now, I believe the Cowboys and Texans are both going to win, but I think the Cowboys might have a little bit of a harder time. Now I hear that Johnny Walker is joining us right now. Let's go ahead and bring him on in.
Gonna bring him on right now. There
Johnny
he is.
Walker, my man.
How you doing? How you guys doing?
Doing
good,
well.
Johnny.
We're talking to Johnny Longhorn, great. Holmes Husky, great. Member of the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame. He joins us on Fridays to talk about UT football, talk about Cowboys. Let's talk about the Cowboys first, because the Cowboys taking on the Saints this weekend. Both teams coming in 1-0. You have the Texans 1-0 going up against a defeated Bears team as well. I was asking the question, of the two teams, who has the easier path to a 2-0 record? Is it the Cowboys against the Saints, or is it the Texans against the Bears?
Man, that's a tough one. I would probably say the Texans versus the Bears. I don't think that Caleb Williams has shown as much as we'd like him to show. I think he's a great talent. There's no question that he's going to be a star in the NFL. I think it's just going to take a little bit more time for Chicago to be able to get their offense where it needs to be as ultra competitive in the league. So I'm just a Stroud fan. I just think the Texans just have a great football team. I think DeMarco Ryans has those guys playing outstanding football, and I look to them to be one of the teams that's going to be playing in the Super Bowl. The Dallas Cowboys, the Saints had a great game last week. You don't know if that was a fluke. I think they look good with Carr. Dallas looked really good, and a shout out to Demarion Overshown, former University of Texas linebacker, who just really showed out against the Cleveland Browns. I always have question marks with Dallas. They can look great one week, and the next week you don't even know what football team is. So I'm going to give the edge to the Houston Texans.
Yeah, look at this. We had some breaking news that came in from Coach Mike McCarthy. He was on 105.3 The Fan, and he was talking about tight end Jake Ferguson's knee, and he said he's doing well. He did a little more yesterday. He goes, we'll see how he feels this morning. Instead of plan, he's getting close. He's still reportedly going to miss at least maybe 3 more games. Yeah. But I think it's good news. At least, the rehab is coming along well. So he'll be rejoining the Cowboys here shortly. And we do have some news that we're going to get into here in college football, but later on. Right now, we're talking Dallas Cowboy football here with the great Johnny Walker.
Yeah. So one of the things I brought up, Johnny, earlier this week, I'm a Saints fan, right? So a couple of things come out. You have Clinton Kubiak.
Why are you a Saints fan?
Why am I a Saints fan?
You must have been dropped on the head by birth, man. What do you mean a Saints fan?
Okay, well, first of all, I was a Houston Oilers fan growing up, man. The Oilers were my team. Warren Moon,
well, I can see that.
But they moved to Tennessee. Tennessee, so screw Bud Adams, right? I'm not going to cheer for the Tennessee Titans. So I was teamless for a while because I wasn't going to cheer for the Cowboys. No, not at all. Now, I became a Saints fan because why? The Saints are the only NFL team to call San Antonio home. And it may have been for only 3 games, but they're the only team to play a game in the NFL regular season in San Antonio and not come over here to peddle T-shirts like Jerry Jones does at the Alamo Dome. There were real games being played here. They had Drew Brees, who was from Austin. I latched on. Ricky Williams.
Joe
Horn. So Joe, I'm a big Saints fan. Now man, this past week
we were the Saints side chick. Come on now. Come on now.
Sancha, we were the Sancha.
We were the Sancha for sure.
I don't know.
My bad. I digress.
Actually happened. Until the Cowboys play a real game in San Antonio, they're just peddling T-shirts.
Right. That's fair.
That's all they're doing. The Saints are coming in with a new offensive coordinator. They have Clinton Kubiak. Yeah. So you have Gary Kubiak's son coming in, young man coming in. He was the the passing game coordinator for the 49ers last season. Now he's taken over as offensive coordinator. The Saints had a difficult time moving the ball up and down last year. David Carr David Carr was Derek Carr was injured.
You're supposed to be a Saints fan.
Don't even know the name of his own quarterback. Johnny, tell him.
Yeah.
You're telling me, man.
Yeah, we were talking about the Texans just a second ago. That's how average and mediocre he is. Derek Carr was hurt most of the year last year. Came in, and he still had a decent year. But what I like about the Saints right now, here's what I like. They have a new offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak, right? I like the fact that he's using Taysom Hill correctly. Taysom Hill is a baller. I love Taysom Hill. And I'm going through the draft picks of the Saints over the years. They've made a habit of drafting offensive linemen repeatedly. Trevor Penning, they've had 3 first rounders on offensive linemen the last 5 years. They had a second rounder on offensive linemen the last 5 years. They have a young core on the offensive line. Talk to me about the importance of having the trenches filled, whether it be on the offensive side of the ball or the defense side of the ball, having the trenches done well.
Well, you can see the success that the Dallas Cowboys have had. They've always made a habit of drafting first-round linemen, and they've always had one of the top offenses in the NFL. So you got to take the time to invest in the offensive line. I mean, if the offensive line isn't doing what it needs to do, it's pretty hard to be successful in the NFL. So kudos to Coach Kubiak for doing that. And as we can see, New Orleans has become a better football team. You still probably won't know who the quarterback is, but I'm just saying – I think they do look a lot better than what they've looked in the past couple of years. So it is good that they're investing in the offensive line.
I like Johnny coming in here firing at you, Mike.
I know. People are making fun of me on the chat. The fact of the matter is
that
supposed
to make fun of you.
I can't hear myself. I can't hear myself talk.
NFL game in San Antonio. Come on.
I can't hear myself talk, and because of that, it messes with my thought process. Because I can hear myself now, right? I can hear myself now. Here I am mute. I can't hear. So it messes with my thought process as I'm doing the show. So
I like this comment here from Shay. Mike forgets his quarterback after one beer, Johnny.
Hey, man. You know what? If something happened to Derek Carr.
The sad part is he hadn't had a beer yet. That's the
I know.
If something happened to Derek Carr, we can have that Spencer Rattler moment, man. Bring him on in, baby. Spencer Rattler, rookie, but he's a third stringer this year. But we're talking to Johnny Walker. Longhorn's great about the games coming up. Cowboys, they beat the Browns this past week in week 1. Browns with a very good defense, kind of a mediocre offense. I don't know what the hell's going on with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was an elite quarterback for a few years, gets caught on the massage table, has another accusation against him. He probably knew about it going into the game. He has a terrible performance. Cowboys defensively won that game. Offensively looked okay. Defensively looked very, very good. What did you like about the Cowboys defense? And do you think the offense needs to pick it up? Because offensively, there was really no running game to be had last Sunday.
I honestly thought the Cowboys defense played above average. I didn't think that they were going to look as good as they did against Cleveland and Deshaun Watson. I thought losing Quinn was going to take us a couple of years to rebuild, but they did an incredible job, man. Fisher really has those guys playing some good football, or Zimmer has them playing some good football. And I was impressed. Of all the things that I saw, Dak was Dak. He had a mediocre game. But to see the defense go out and dominate against the Cleveland Browns was a sight to see. I was really impressed by the Dallas Cowboys defense.
So who should the Cowboys focus on, key in defensively? I mean, I know you go after the quarterback, you go after Derek Carr, right? But the Saints have some pretty decent offensive weapons around them. They got Chris Olave, who's a legit wide receiver one. Rashid Shaheed, who had a 59-yard touchdown reception. The guy is he's looking like a little mini Tyreek Hill. Just let him go for 50, 60 yards. Just have him go deep. He'll go find it, right? You have Taysom Hill. You've got Johnson. You've got a lot of different players. Then Alvin Kamara, who looks like he's throwing like he's battling Father Time in the sense that he's taking it back. They're using him differently. He looked good in week 1. Do they key in on Olave? Do they key in on Kamara? Do they key in on Shaheed? Who should they key in on defensively, the
That's a
Cowboys?
good question. I think Kamari is the best offensive weapon that the Saints have. I probably would focus on shutting down their run game and force David Carr to start throwing the ball, and that gives us a chance to get DeMarcus Lawrence and Michael Parsons chances to start to get more sacks. So shutting down the running game, forcing them to throw the ball more than what they would like to, putting them in some third and long situations. I think that's our best chance of being successful against the Saints.
Saints have a pretty interesting running attack. They have Jamal Williams as their backup. I mean, he led the league in touchdowns just 2 years ago with nearly 20 that season. So it's not just Kamara. Kendrick Miller is going to miss this game. I like Kendrick Miller a lot, formerly of TCU, but it's one of those things, injuries kind of happen. Talking to Johnny Walker, Dak Prescott got the bag. Since we last talked, he got $50 million a year. What are your thoughts on Dak Prescott getting that $60 million paycheck?
Well, the one thing I can tell you about the experience of playing in the NFL is that you get all of your salary during the regular season. The problem is that that's pretty much when Dak stops playing. So if we can figure out a way to stretch that contract through the playoffs, I think we have a better chance of seeing Dak be more successful in the playoffs. But I'm happy for Dak. I think he's earned it. There's no question, as he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. And that's just what the market garnered. I mean, he garnered the contract that he got. I definitely know he's going to earn it during the regular season. I just still have questions about what happens during the postseason.
And look at this, man. We have this to show on screen right now. This is a little excerpt from Dak Prescott talking with his brother about finishing his career with the Dallas Cowboys on his new deal. Here's a quote he said in this interview. "First off, I plan to play more than 4 years, so Jerry's going to owe me another contract. I owe so much to the city of Dallas, and I want to be able to deliver my end of the deal and bring the city, bring the Jones, bring the Cowboys organization a Super Bowl that's long overdue." You believe that Dak is the guy that will actually take the Cowboys back to the promised land to get him into that Super Bowl?
Well, we got 250 million reasons to believe that he will. I mean,
that's a lot of money.
So play was an $80 million signing bonus. Yeah, I that's a good answer by Dak. That's the answer that he should give. That's definitely something he should say. Again, kudos to Dak for being able to get the contract, and for Jerry Jones for being able to sign him. There's no question, again, that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but I will always have apprehension until I see him successful in the postseason. I mean, that's just the big question. And it's not just Dak. I mean, it just seems like the whole Dallas Cowboys football team doesn't show up during the postseason. And so you're going to always lean more toward the Coach McCarthy, when you see a team that just tanks during the playoffs.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do, Mike, too, is we're going to start transitioning here a little bit. We did bring the great Johnny Walker on, not to just talk Cowboys football, but we're going to be talking about the matchup that is going to be coming up here, UT versus UTSA, Mike.
Yeah, I want to get into that in one quick second, but while we're still focused on the NFL a little bit, that scary moment yesterday involving Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh, yeah.
Third concussion of his career. He talked about retiring after his second concussion in 2022. Now the Dolphins are saying that there's no timeline when it comes to him. Are you envisioning a scenario like Andrew Luck, where a player as talented as Tua hangs the cleats up in his 20s?
I don't think he has a choice. I really don't. The second concussion was scary. To see this condition that he was in. I know that we've tried to do some research on the effects on concussions. Having his third concussion, and quite frankly, that didn't look good either. Watching the game. I think, unfortunately, it's time for him to hang it up. I mean, you got to think about that football is just a small portion of your life. He's a great quarterback, there's no question. But now you've got to start thinking about long-term health. And I think that, unfortunately, the concussions have taken a toll on him, on this young man. And I think for the best interest of himself, for the best interests of his family and his future family, I think he needs to hang the cleats up. I do.
So I'm taking a look at the contract that he signed. Tua Tagovailoa is 26 years old, signed a 4-year, $212 million contract back in April. That's about $53 million a year. 167 of it is guaranteed. So, I mean, if he does hang him up, he's still going to get paid. So he has generational wealth coming his way.
I mean, we understand that, and that's great, but you got to be able to enjoy it too. I mean, what good is it if you from the concussions that you had and knowing some of the side effects that come from multiple concussions, you want to be able to enjoy your life too. That would be the biggest question for me. I just think that he needs to hang it up. He can't afford to have another concussion. There's no question that he's a great football player, but man, you got to let it go, man. You just got to let it go.
Yeah,
Here are the numbers regarding to his contract right here. I'm showing them on screen.
Yeah, I was going to get into that Spotrac and also Front Office Sports, which I was checking out right now, saying that although more than 200 was guaranteed, the fact of the matter is if he were to retire because of something medical, the amount that it was guaranteed drops to 124. Still a very good amount of money there, but Tua Tagovailoa, just 26 years old. Again, no timetable on his return. Talking to Johnny Walker, I'm going to be honest with you, Johnny. I was asked if I wanted 50-yard line seats this week for the Longhorns versus UTSA Roadrunners, and I was like, "Nah, I'm all right. I'm all right. I don't want to see that beat down."
No,
I think I'll be honest. Between me and you guys, I think the thing that UTSA would be most excited about is that $1.6 million check that they're going to get to play Texas. I think that would make me party and be excited about coming to play University of Texas with that showing against the Texas State Bobcats. And you know what? Shout out to Texas State. I mean, I think their new coach has done a phenomenal job. They really should have won the game last night, but I think that we've seen just how good Texas State is with the dominating UTSA in that football game. So I mean, I'm San Antonio born and raised, love San Antonio, but man, I don't see UTSA having much of a fighting chance against Texas this week.
There's no lies detected in that statement, Johnny. I'm just saying, when it comes to looking at the talent pool that both of these football teams have, Texas has the better talent. They're going to have the better team out there. I mean, UTSA might make it a game for maybe the first half of the first quarter, and then the wheels will fall off unless UT puts up 21 points.
I'll be honest. The game that UTSA and Texas, the games that they have played, the one game they did play, it was a good game. I'm not gonna lie. As a matter of fact, I almost got into a couple of shouting arguments out between me and you. I won't say. I mean, UTSA looked pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I was getting tired of seeing the birds up at home. So Texas just has so much talent. I want to say, looking at the performance against Michigan, I don't think there's any question that University of Texas has one of the top offenses, if not the number one college football offense. The only other team that I think they can compare to them is University of Tennessee. There's no question that it's going to be difficult to be able to stop Texas's high octane offense. I think Sarkisian has them playing at a very high level.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And you mentioned all those wide receivers. We talked about it on Monday. We brought you up because you were on the show last Friday, and you convinced us that this was not only going to be a UT victory over Michigan, but that UT had a chance of blowing them out. And that's exactly what happened. Michigan fell behind. They did not have the quarterback to compete. Quinn Ewers, by the way, now, according to the Vegas Sportsbook, is now the favorite at 5-1 odds to win the Heisman Trophy. Quinn Ewers is one of those things where I know Longhorn fans really want the Arch Manning era to begin, but I think Quinn Ewers is going to have one of those legacy years where you're going to look back and go, why didn't we not love this guy more?
You know what? I love the fact that, and I think, to be honest with you, I think it's best that Archie Manning has been able to sit this long. I think that coming into the University of Texas, I think the level of high school play that he played in Louisiana just wasn't up to par to be able to be successful at the college level. I think that he's had time to mature. He's gotten bigger. He's gotten stronger. He has a better understanding of the offense and the expectations, actually being acclimated to the speed of the game because, again, looking at his high school highlights and the teams that they played and his team that he was on, they just didn't have the talent that you would see at some of the 5-star quarterbacks that were playing against some of these big time high school programs. So it's been a great opportunity for Manning to be able to learn and to develop his skill set. So Quinn Ewers, I think he came out the gun firing. He's done an incredible job. He was 24 for 36 for 246 yards with 3 touchdowns. And quite frankly, with that ridiculous holding call that they called, which I still trying to question, I think Texas scored on every one of their possessions that they had. I mean, the 5 possessions they had the ball, they scored. There was just no answer. I mean, they just dominated. I mean, they just have an incredible offense. They really did.
We do have a question coming in from one of our viewers here, Johnny Walker. He's asking, Tim Gonzalez is asking you, should the NCAA for football and other sports, the transfer portal, should it be at the end of the season, not during the season?
That's a good question. I think with even now adding the 2-minute timeout, what they call it, instead of the 2 minutes, I think we've seen the college game evolve more to where it's being like a professional football program. I like the portal. I think that with all the stakes that are in play, you have to be able to go out and get a player, and it's almost impossible to wait a whole season to be able to try to recruit a player because that player still has to be able to come in and he's got to develop. It takes time. So the transfer portal is something that's needed. I think that it's made the college game better. I know there's people who dislike that, but I think it's given more of a balance, and it allows teams to not have to rebuild. You don't have to rebuild. You're be able to fill some of the holes that you have with players that have already got some experience. So I like the transfer portal, and I think they should continue along the path that they're going now.
Yeah, and we also have a $10 super chat we need to address here, Mike. So this from our good friend Mario Cavazos, making it rain, supporting the show. Go ahead and let's read that super chat there, Mike.
Yeah, it says for preventing Jimenez from receiving a concussion on Sunday after hitting his head after the Cowboys killed the Saints. Okay, I told you that my confidence level is like a 3 or a 4. Okay,
who's the quarterback? Who's the quarterback for the Saints again?
Derek Carr.
David Carr.
With the headset on, Derek Carr. When I can't hear myself, David Carr.
You know what, Johnny? We should get him a jersey that says David Carr.
Yeah, you know what? That's what we're gonna do. Yes, we're definitely getting you a jersey. So you're doing the quarterback.
Spencer Rattler. Okay,
it's gonna say D Carr, so it's a 50-50 chance of getting it right.
What's your quarterback's name?
Well, my question for you is we're talking about the transfer portal. You say you're a supporter of the transfer portal.
Yeah.
How much NIL money would Johnny Walker have received in the late 80s?
Ooh,
do you look back at that and think to yourself, man, I missed out?
I would have retired out of college because because you got to remember I played football and baseball, so it'd have been an endless funnel of money coming in. So I would have retired.
You were prime time Johnny Walker, man. Look at that.
I would have retired. Yes, I would have. I'd have been doing podcasts my entire life. no, but it's you know what? It's really great to be able to see the young college athletes make the money because college football. When you saw the TV contracts coming in, I mean, what SEC, what is it, like $15 billion TV? I mean, the money was just staggering. And the money that you're giving college coaches, I think what Georgia's coach is making, $13 million a year. He's guaranteed, 10 years. That's $130 million. I mean, it was just too much money. I mean, it's just too much money, and you couldn't justify it anymore because honestly, you're relying on amateur players to be able to generate the kind of revenue that college football is bringing in. And let's be honest, it's bringing in billions of dollars. I mean, at some point, you had to come to reality and realize that if it weren't for the college players, you were not going to be able to generate that kind of revenue.
Yeah, you need players out on the field to have a game.
Gotta have it. Gotta have them. Yeah, gotta have them. Yeah, I think there were a couple of incidences that pretty much solidified that it was going to happen. I believe the University of Missouri football team. I think something happened on campus with the president. He didn't want to resign. The players said, "We're not going to play." The ESPN asked for their $1.8 million back, and so guess what? Within 10 hours, the president resigned. So they realized that they had to start playing players. It's just that simple.
What's a 19-year-old Johnny Walker buying if he got 50 G's in his pocket back in the late 80s?
I probably would have paid off my parents' home, and I would have definitely bought me a Mercedes for sure.
I was going to say, convertible, Johnny? You would have gotten you a convertible Mercedes?
I probably would have gotten convertible. Now with my baseball money, one of the first things I did was buy a car. It wasn't convertible Benz, but yeah, I did get a Benz, so I definitely would have bought a car. There's no question.
Look at this. We got another question for you, Johnny. This is going to be in regards to your years at Texas. Tim Gonzalez saying, Mr. Walker, all your 4 years at Texas, what was the hardest class you took in college?
That's a good question. Probably the ones I had to stay awake in. No, that's a good question. I think I took a college algebra class, man. That was hard, man. I wasn't a math person, so that was probably the hardest class.
That was probably the hardest class. Johnny.
That in my conversational Spanish class, that was hard too, because I literally knew nothing that the professor was saying. I just laughed when I saw everybody else laughed, and I was able to wing it.
But you know what? Real talk though, Johnny, every time you have a female Spanish teacher, they're always cute, man. They're always hot.
They are cute. She was cute, and she was from Spain. So I was fortunate in that. And she loved football, so it worked out really well for me.
Talking to Johnny Walker, I don't mean to be a little controversial here. I know you're in a school setting right now, so we'll keep the hush tones.
I'm actually at home right now, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, Shannon Sharp, did he do it on purpose?
Did he do what on purpose? I'm sorry, you got to familiarize me on that one.
Oh, okay.
Shay.
So Shay, Shannon Sharp.
I know from Shay.
NFL legend. He was apologizing because he went on Instagram Live, or Instagram Live caught him having sex with somebody. There's no video of them.
It's just audio.
All you hear is just audio of him having sex for a few minutes. And then he apologized thereafter, saying that it was that he first he said his phone got hacked, and then he went on to say that it was like a butt dial type of thing where it just accidentally turned on, and it's him having sex with some girl. And now ESPN is potentially going to suspend him, fine him, fire him, whatever the case may be. Shannon Sharp, did he do this on purpose? Do you believe that someone could get on Instagram Live or Facebook Live and not know that they're doing it?
I honestly think he probably pushed the wrong button. No pun intended. And I don't honestly think he would have done that on purpose. That had to be a frightening audio, but I think that was an accident. But unfortunately, with the dynamics that we have and all the things that are going on with women and things of that nature, that's something you just can't do. I mean, I think it was a mistake. He's got a great Club Shay Shay. He can do that all day long on Club Shay Shay, but ESPN, nah, man, we're not going to. I think that term with ESPN is probably going to come to a close.
Well, look at here. Now that you just said that, Front Office Sports is reporting Shannon Sharp will still co-host First Take as usual on Monday. Okay. ESPN is telling Front Office Sports less than a week after he went viral for sharing an apparent sexual encounter on Instagram. So they're still going to keep him on there.
First of all, he did it on purpose. Okay.
Yes.
Did it on purpose. Why would you do that?
The odds are okay. To get on Instagram Live, you have to do like 4 or 5 different things to make it happen, right? He had to have known, and he's holding his phone, and he throws the phone off to the side. So it's just weird. All you see is the phone being tossed. That's all you see. I
think he was probably trying to press video, and he pressed the wrong button. I think he pressed the wrong button. I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, you got those big old fingers. They've probably been broken several times. I mean, no telling which way direction it was going. I mean, he just pushed the wrong button. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it happens, man. I have the same problem when I'm trying to text. I just give up, man. I just throw it. My fingers, I can't text. Yeah, I just think he pushed the wrong button, man. So, but fortunately for him, I guess ESPN has realized that when it comes to the following that he has and the success that he has with Club Shay Shay, it would just benefit the show to keep him on there.
Yeah, we're gonna kind of. I was gonna say
about his podcast, how popular Shay Shay is.
It is.
Yeah.
About how
he doesn't need ESPN. He really doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't need to do the show with ESPN. I think they know that.
Go ahead, Joe. I apologize for interrupting.
No, I was gonna say I was gonna ask Johnny about something here because we're gonna kind of switch gears a little bit here and get back on track with talking college football. And what I was gonna ask Mr. Walker here, the great Johnny Walker, is look at what happened here on the X. It says schools to watch for expansions to the Pac-12, and we're looking at schools that are on the list. The one that stands out, UTSA. They might be making the move over to the Pac-12. What do you think about that?
I think it would be a good move. I think that hat off to Coach Traylor. I think he's done a phenomenal job of increasing the brand of UTSA football. I think that UTSA has come a long way, and it is definitely a program that needs to be reckoned with. And to be able to get into one of the I don't know if Pac-12 would be considered a Power 5 conference. I think they're trying to work to get back to that. I think it would be a great move for University of Texas San Antonio to be able to get into that conference.
Yeah. Other schools that are on the list, you have Memphis, you have Tulane, Caltech, you have Stanford, UNLV, Air Force, Wyoming, and New Mexico. You don't think that UTSA and Air Force matchup might be interesting, man? I think that would be.
I mean, and what I like about this, here's what I like. Can you show that list again there, Joe?
Sure, I'll show it right now.
What I like about that list is this, because we were talking about how Pac-12 added 4 teams yesterday, right? They added Boise State, right? Who else did they add? They added Boise State, like Fresno State, Colorado State. That didn't really excite me. But you take a look at a school like Stanford and Cal. Yeah. So you have the educational aspects of it all. You add a military component to it with Air Force. You add a Tulane where you add big cities, Memphis, New Orleans, San Antonio. You've got the San Francisco area. You've got Las Vegas. You've got Denver. You've got Albuquerque. You've got some pretty good media markets to go on. This is a Pac-12 that I can be in favor of. And it'd be weird for UTSA to change ships again.
The only problem with that, Mike, is it's not the Pac-12. How is that the Pac-12 anymore? I mean, I don't get it. I mean, it's not the Pac-12. You might as well call the conference something different now. I mean, I don't see it. That's the only thing.
The Big 12 isn't the Big 12 anymore either without Texas and Oklahoma. But
that is true. That's definitely true. Well, but I'm just talking about, Pac-12 has always been the West Coast teams, and now you're getting into Central United States. And I mean, it's not the Pac-12 anymore. And I think that with conference realignment, things like that are going to happen. I understand. But I mean, like the Big Ten, you got USC, UCLA. Like what? I mean, it's ridiculous. Like,
no, but can you imagine going to the Alamo?
I didn't even flow together, man. What are you talking about? That's crazy. Oregon, come on, man. That's crazy.
But from
I get it.
UTSA fan perspective, I want to see UTSA play Stanford. I want to see.
Absolutely.
I want to see Stanford come to town. I want to see Cal come to town. I want to see Air Force. Imagine the pageantry of San Antonio.
Yeah, I agree.
Air Force
yeah.
You want to see that Stanford mascot running up and down the field with Rowdy?
Yeah,
he's a tree.
Yeah,
he's a tree and Rowdy.
I think for UTSA, this is probably the biggest conference they'll be able to get into. If they're able to get into the Pac-12, I don't see them being able to get into any of the other bigger conferences. And if it was going to happen, they'd have to be able to get into the Pac-12 and start and start really showing their true colors. They'd have to start winning and doing great in all of their programs to be able to chance to get in some of the true Power 5 conferences. So this is a good stepping stone for them. I do like the progression that UTSA has taken. It seems every couple of years they've been able to move up to a stiffer conference. So I think the Pac-12 is the next step in that stepping stone.
Before we let you go, Johnny, we forgot to do something last week. And it's a tradition that we have over here at Alamo City Sportscast. It's a get to know you segment. Okay. So the get to know you segment is you go work out in the gym right now. What music do you have playing? Give me some artists that you're listening to.
You lost me with workout in the gym.
or you go for a jog, you go for a walk, you work out at all. Or even if you're driving around town, you're driving down 410 and 1604.
Oh, okay. Walking up and down the stairs. Yeah. Okay. Probably working out the gym. No, probably Drake. I'm a huge Drake fan. So it would be one of countless Drake songs. I'm a big Drake fan, so I listen to Drake.
Okay, so that dovetails into Kendrick Lamar being the Super Bowl halftime performer in New Orleans coming here. What were your thoughts when Kendrick Lamar went after Drake and the beef that they had and Not Like Us and coming out and becoming a sensation?
More money. That's all it is. It's a chance to make more money. There's nothing wrong with it. I get it. I mean, I get it. I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan. I think he's kind of tailed off a little bit this last couple of albums, but I think he'll be able to pick it back up. So I'm hoping that he'll be able to get to that next level.
All right. Last get to know you question. Back in the day, 80s and 90s, okay. Who was your celebrity crush, and who's your celebrity crush now?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Who was my celebrity crush back? Wow. My celebrity crush back in the day, probably Dolly Parton. For some various reasons, that Dolly Parton was probably a celebrity crush. Who would be my crush now? I would. Who is my son? I would probably say, God, man, celebrity crush now. My wife. He's listening.
No, man. So you're trying to get this man in trouble, Mike.
I had to get those. I had to get those points in. My celebrity crush now would probably be Beyonce.
Very nice. Great answer. Great answer.
Well, everybody here's celebrity crush here on the show is going to be the great Salma Hayek, man. She's already pushing 50. She's still looking good.
That's a good one. Yeah, she looks real good. Yeah, absolutely.
One of my favorite Dolly Parton moments, and you can YouTube this, is when she did the top 10 list on the David Letterman show. And it was the top 10 things you don't know about Dolly Parton. And Dolly Parton's giving the answers, number 9, 8, 7. And number 1, they're like, what are the things you don't know about Dolly Parton? Number 1, and she goes, I got a great ass too.
I couldn't get past the first 2. I don't know about the 10. The first 2 were good.
Talking to Johnny Walker, give us a final score for tonight for the UTSA UT game. Favored by 34.5 points. Give me a final score.
56-7, and I think that's a mercy 7. Yeah, I really do. Yeah. Like I said, like they get 1.6 million. That's something to be excited about. I think. I mean, that's great to be able to bring in that kind of a payday playing against University of Texas.
Joe, give me a score.
Oh man, I'd probably put it at like 67-3 or something, man. I think it's gonna be bad, dude. Bad.
I'm gonna go with 52-10. All three of us were really close against on that Michigan game. Yeah, give me a final score. Cowboys hosting the Saints with Derek Carr, not David.
35-24. Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, what do you got, Joe?
27-13. Cowboys over Saints.
I'm gonna say Cowboys win this game 24-20. I think it's gonna be a lower scoring than most. I think Cowboys still win. One last prediction. Texans, Bears at NRG here in Houston. What do you got?
I got them 36 to 13. 36-13.
Joe?
And
Texas.
34-10.
34-10. I'm gonna say 27-13.
All right.
Okay.
So I think
Now you're gonna have to start keeping a record of these rankings. We're gonna start ranking our predictions
There
here.
you go.
Yeah.
You were all very close on the Longhorns,
Yeah.
Michigan. But very nice. That's Johnny Walker. Thank you so much for being with us, and
Thanks,
hope
Johnny.
to have you the rest of the football season on Fridays. It's great, man.
Yeah.
Well,
good luck tonight.
Well, enjoy your trip, man. Enjoy your trip, man. Be safe. It's always a pleasure being on the show, and hopefully we can keep making it happen.
I got to rake in that money, man. I got client meetings in Houston today. Got client meetings in Houston on Monday. I got client meetings.
NIL, man.
I ain't getting no business in San Antonio for some reason. Thanks for being with us, Johnny.
See you,
not
Johnny.
a problem. Appreciate you having me, man. All right. Bye-bye.
Talking to Johnny Walker, man. Fantastic guy. Former Holmes Husky. Joe, put my number up there. Let's get some business in San Antonio. My cell phone number, you know it, 210-508-0369. Again, 210-508-0369. I do financial strategies, man. I talk money all day long. So whether that be investments, life insurance, disability, long-term care, that's what I do. I'm here in Houston because I'm meeting with a gentleman who wants to take care of his kids, wants to do generational wealth, and is talking about putting something together for not only his kids who are adults, but also his grandkids as well. He also has a pension that he has through a company and wants to know the best thing that he can do with his pension. His wife is a flight attendant and is asking me to look at her stuff as well as she retires. He's already retired. She's going to be retiring, so I'm working with that. I got a guy from AT&T that I'm working with. I got a guy from Coke Industries. I got a guy from other teachers and whatnot. I work with a lot of different people when it comes to their financial strategies. Again, Mike Jimenez, 210-508-0369. Thank you. Gotta say that. Gotta keep me in business, baby. Okay.
We have some great comments coming in, by the way, man.
Yeah.
This is funny. Mario Cavazos is saying, you guys need to have a pick'em segment.
Yeah, I think we'll start doing that again next week. We should do that.
Yeah. And look at this.
Agree.
Tony Ornelas, David Carr needs life insurance, Joe. David Carr.
Okay, Joe, see the headphones that you have on, Joe, and people don't realize that this happens. I was in TV news for 10 years. I was on air for 8, right? Sometimes you have things that go on in your ears and it messes with your equilibrium. It messes with your ability to talk, right? Sometimes when your reporters and anchors are having conversations or talking on the news, they have people in their ear, and it's just like you're processing and talking at the same time. When I do this, I can't hear anything. So that's why I had it off to the side so I could hear. So I was trying to do this and talk, but it was brutal. And I lost my train of thought. So I have to do it off to the side like this so that I can both have the microphone working and I can actually pay attention to what I'm doing. So I know people, Tony Ornelas earlier was like, oh, you just messed up, man. It's all nonsense. No, I mean, I do this and 90% of the sound goes away. So it has to be off to the side.
Hey, you know what we need to do too? We need to go ahead and give some love to our good friends here over at MCS General Contracting and Chris Leha, because the show now, as you can see with the new look that we rolled out today, it's powered by MCS General Contracting. So let's give them some love. MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business, honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show. MCS General Contracting. More. There we go. I stopped it.
There you go. No, they do a fantastic job. As I've mentioned several times before, I am a customer of theirs, a client of theirs. They did a sidewalk on the side of my house, did an amazing job. Chris Leha and the fellows did an amazing job, and they did it quickly. They were very methodical in what they did. When Leha came out, man, I'll be honest with you, I was embarrassed at what my yard looked like at the time. He didn't give me any comments. He roasts me on social media, right? But in person, being a professional, he didn't do that. He just says, "Here's what we should do, and this is why we should do it." They did an amazing job, man. Go, Chris Leha. Already say late to the party. Was out here laying that diamond hard concrete this morning. I know, because when it rains, you can't do it, right? So he's back on the job. At least the temperatures are getting a little bit better. Joe, what's going on at the airport, man? I read an article today from KSAT and MySA about San Antonio Airport that Southwest Airlines might take off. What the hell's going on?
It's stupid stuff going on. So what's basically going on is that you have the San Antonio people who have run the San Antonio airport are at odds right now with Southwest Airlines. The dispute is the airport is going ahead and adding a new, wing of construction.
Yeah,
Southwest,
Terminal 3.
yeah, Southwest Airlines has been in one of the oldest terminals since 1984, I believe. That's when it was built. So they've been housed there, and they've been there forever. But Southwest Airlines was promised a spot in the new terminal, and they're bringing in about 40% of the
40%.
business to the San Antonio International Airport. They want to go ahead and get new digs. It's time for them to move. I guess the city had made a deal with them, telling them that was going to happen. But for some reason, it's kind of fallen through now, as the city is now not following through with the promises that were guaranteed to one Southwest Airlines. So what's happening is that Southwest Airlines is unhappy because they don't really see a room for them to grow the way that they had projected based on what the San Antonio city of San Antonio had originally told them. So now San Antonio's kind of backtracking a little bit, and Southwest Airlines is saying either you give us what we want and we get put in the new terminal, because we're projected to bring in 50% of the business as growth is going to happen. So we need to be put in this new terminal for expansion, to go ahead and handle the growth that is expected. And we're going to see if they can ink a deal out, because if not, Southwest Airlines will up and move. I know a lot of us here in San Antonio use Southwest Airlines. Usually they're on the cheaper side of the airfares, to go and get it where you need to go. Whether you're going to go to Florida, you're going to go to Tennessee or something, you're going to go to Vegas, usually going to fly Southwest Airlines, But who knows, man? The city of San Antonio right now, everybody's upset because their biggest concern right now is inking out that new deal for that new Mission Stadium that's going to be put in the middle of downtown. And they're forgetting you need people to actually want to come to the city. And that's been one of the biggest issues here in San Antonio, is it being a small market team, or small market mindset, should I say, is that it's so hard to get to San Antonio, for one, then to fly out of San Antonio. What do we all have in common when we fly out of San Antonio? We have to go and get a layover to go somewhere else, another connecting flight, whether it be in Houston, whether it be in Dallas. There's not a lot of one-way flights. And that's been the biggest issue here with San Antonio and its growth. If it was easier to get here and fly out of here, we'd have more people that would want to come here and visit. San Antonio's got to get its stuff together, man. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, so the Express News has a headline that says Southwest Airlines is not getting space in the new terminal. It's putting up a fight. I think that they had offered the new terminal to American, if I'm not mistaken. I overheard that someplace. American Airlines, which is headquartered in Dallas, doesn't have a lot of traffic coming in and out of San Antonio. Like you mentioned, 40% of the travel coming through the city is through Southwest Airlines, projected to be 50%. Damn straight they should be the one taken care of. You take care of the one that brings you the most business, and that is Southwest Airlines. San Antonio has a very, very lame airport system. I like the fact that I can get in and out pretty quickly. I like the fact that I don't have to go to the airport 2.5 hours beforehand, because I've gone to different cities like Dallas, Phoenix, Atlanta, Chicago, LaGuardia, New York, where it's a pain to get in and out of. LAX, pain to get in and out of. But I like the fact that it's easy. But at the same time, international flights, you got to fly into Houston to go someplace. You have to fly into New York or or Miami to get to where you need to go. Even if you're going to Mexico, you have to fly from San Antonio to Houston to get to Mexico half the time. So that's a little bit weird, and it's disappointing because how do they not see this coming? How do they not see this coming? How do they not see that opening a third terminal, which is a good thing, they should have that. How do they not see that maybe Southwest would be pissed off that they wouldn't get the new place, right?
Yeah, why would you want to stay in the old digs that aren't set up for growth? I mean, if you go there and you even fly out early, Mike, we fly a lot, right? So we go to the airport and we're going to get a 7 a.m. flight. We get there around 5 o'clock in the morning. Place is packed, dude. And you got to go and check your bags in. It's so cramped. Then there's this long line that you have just to get through the TSA at 5 a.m. It's ridiculous, man. When you look at other airports, and I've flown to other airports around the country, you know, they have the other little tiny airport in, was it North Carolina? That one's all right. Better than San Antonio. I've gone to Kansas City, dude. Kansas City. Their airport leaps and bounds better than the San Antonio airport, man. It's insane, man.
Charlotte has a beautiful airport. So does Austin. I've been to the Bergstrom Airport there in Austin. That is really, really nice. People are asking the question, should San Antonio and Austin have like a joint one like DFW is in Dallas-Fort Worth? I mean, I can see that, but it's just one of those things where how do you run an airport and not know the wants, needs, and desires of your number one tenant?
The city's backwards here, man. What is their biggest concerns right now? Getting a new arena for the San Antonio Spurs, getting that new Mission Stadium built downtown.
Hey, I'm not going to complain about the Spurs.
I'm just saying
arena.
this is the thing, dude. You're going to build these new facilities, and people are going to want to come and enjoy them. How are they going to get here? The number one concern that you have is transportation and infrastructure. To get around downtown, we don't have that infrastructure in place. Via sucks, dude. The bus line is horrible. Trying to fly to San Antonio, if you don't have that infrastructure to be able to handle the influx of people, what's going to happen? People, how are they going to get here? They're not. That's the problem. They're not.
It is tragic if Southwest Airlines leaves. That would be an indictment on the city. That would be an indictment on the airport. That'd be an indictment on the county. I mean, does the county need to step in and get this taken care of somehow, some way? I mean, I don't know the logistics or the legalities of or who runs what, but the fact that this is even an issue is a problem. That is stupid. Chris saying Ron is too busy lifting weights to worry about the city. Well, he has to lift those weights. He's preparing to go battle Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs on in a what's that? What was that? Sylvester Stallone over the top. Gonna do that. Speaking of Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs, let's show him some love.
Sure, let's go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and get the video ready for him. Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
Jeff Garcia has an article today on cannons5.com that got posted a couple of hours ago where Spurs fans got pissed off about a mock trade involving Victor Wembanyama going to the Spurs in exchange for LeBron James. You can read that article. Again, he's on cannons5.com. Well, I subscribe on Spotify and YouTube. And he also talked about the fact that some Spurs games might actually be on Amazon Prime. That's pretty interesting. And one last thing, Jeff also yesterday posted the fact that there are going to be 10 games where the City Edition jerseys are going to be out. And he posted which days, which games those are going to be. Again, Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs for your daily Spurs coverage. I'm looking for that list here of the games. Jeff, man, he's prolific when it comes to tweeting.
Oh, yeah, man. He's right on top of things. I think I got some of those games tweeted out here as far as I guess they called them theme nights. The San Antonio Spurs were putting out there. We can go directly.
City nights. Oh, I have it right here. The first City night's going to be November 21st against the Utah Jazz, the 27th against the Lakers. Again, the City Knights, when they wear their city jerseys, which are a little bit different than what they normally wear.
Man, they had me laughing. They roasted you yesterday. And they're like, Mike wants to have ICE be there on Hispanic Heritage Night.
Jeff, as I said the other day, with friends like him, who needs enemies?
Oh, man,
Jeff
dude.
at this point is basically posting on a daily basis. What did I hear Jimenez say on the Alamo City Sportscast about
San Antonio was poor.
Fill in the blank, right? Well, that I did say, and it's actual and factual, as TLC said. But the fact of the matter is that 90% of what Jeff posts about what I quote unquote said are just straight up lies.
Come on.
Straight up lies. And I don't know if that helps this podcast or not, but it's funny. It's funny. And he gets people riled up, and I'm there going, dude, none of this even happened. And Jeff is like, oh, I thought that's what I heard you say. I was doing other things while listening to the podcast. Maybe you didn't say it that way. And does he do a retraction? No. He just lets me twist in the wind. What a great friend. What a great friend.
Yeah. And they also showed the promotional offers they're having, for different nights. Teacher Appreciation Night on October the 28th. Beer Fest happening on November 7th. Taco Tuesday 210 deal on the November 19th. Space Force Night. I'm like, what? I've never seen that. That's happening on the 21st, nice. Which is my son's birthday. So, maybe I'll take him to that. But one of the things that I thought was interesting to me is that my wife was telling me yesterday, I'm getting tickets again to go and experience that all you can eat, all you can drink, little private club they have there on the floor level.
You took me last year.
Yeah, man, that's going to happen again in November. So we'll see what happens during that time, dude. I don't know. I'm going to take the kids with me this time, or I'm going to take the friends with me. I'll let everybody know, man. Maybe we'll round up the troops again. And then we'll go in there. Maybe we can get Hefe to go. Tell him, hey, Jeff, don't cover the game today, man.
Yeah,
just enjoy it as a fan.
Take the day off. Just take the day off.
Yeah. I mean, they bring you the food and the beer to your seats, bro. I mean, come on. It's a no-brainer, Jeff.
So I saw and this is not necessarily entertainment news, but I was just thinking about it. I saw a TikTok the other day about the VMAs. I didn't realize the VMAs were a thing. The Video Music Awards on MTV.
Yeah.
And apparently it was the 40th time that they had the VMA Awards. 40th time. So that goes back to what, 1984?
Yeah, man.
And
it's been around.
And the person who brought this up was a guy named Carson Daly. Okay, so back in the day, you and I are only a year or two apart in age, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that we're the same age. Were you a 106 and Park kind of guy on BET, or were you a TRL, Total Request Live?
I was a TRL guy, but you know what was funny to me with the TRL is that I knew it was a whole bit. I knew the whole thing was a scam, dude.
It was a scam.
It was a scam. All they were doing is just putting in the most popular songs of the day, getting the most popular artist on the show. Oh, it's Total Request. There was no phone line that went anywhere. It didn't do anything, you know?
One of my favorite things was that it was revealed on a documentary on Netflix about how all of it was a lie, that they were trying to pump up ratings in certain parts of the country. So like they would say, wow, our ratings suck in the Dallas Fort Worth area. Let's go ahead and put in an artist from that area. Oh, Jessica Simpson's from that area. Let's put Jessica Simpson on, and they're going to pump up Jessica. And then California put in blank California related to build them up. And it was just them spinning plates, and they pitched it as though this is what America wanted, right? It was just filling in the gaps, getting higher ratings in the markets they needed. It was so funny, dude. But MTV, I like music videos still, dude. I wake up every morning and I have my Samsung TV and whatever Samsung cable channel that it is. I have it on 2010's Vivo, and it's always Shakira. It's always Maroon 5. It's always Black Eyed Peas. Just something comes on every morning. I turn on the TV. When I wake up in the morning, that's what pops up.
This, to me, has to be the comment of the day here. JHNSB. Mike told me Hispanic heritage is ghetto because nobody wears an undershirt.
Well, first of all, I never wear undershirts. But you know what is ghetto? I'm going to tell you what's ghetto.
Bro.
Wearing a basketball jersey without an undershirt.
Oh, come on,
If you are a grown-ass man with kids and you're walking around with a basketball jersey showing your armpit hair, and there's not a basketball game to be found, You're not actually playing. And even if you are playing, cochinos, man, cochino by
Oh,
far.
come on, Mike. I've seen some guys out there fit in good shape. You know, they don't need to wear an undershirt, man. Showing off the guns like Efe.
I mean, maybe if you are in shape, but if you are wearing an XL or bigger, put on an undershirt, dude. You know,
No.
I understand if you're sculpting your guns and you want to show them off, that's great. But if you you know, if you wear a 38 waist or bigger, put on an undershirt.
Look
Just
at Hooper Flash. He says, just use deodorant.
dude, sometimes they don't, man. I had an uncle who may he rest in peace, who I played basketball with one time, and it was over on the west side. It was over off of kind of like where Alamo Ironworks is, and we were playing ball, and he went up for a rebound one time, and I went up, and I just came straight back down, dude. The smell was bad.
Oh, man.
West Side basketball is a different thing, dude.
You know
I
what's
mean,
nasty too, man? When these guys have this big old underarm hair just growing out, and they're trying to put the deodorant on, and it just cakes on the hair, dude. Like,
oh yeah,
gross, bro.
yeah. If you see if you're standing straight, your arms are like this, and you have underarm hair coming out, dude, trim that crap, dude. Just sit. I'm not saying shave it. I'm just saying
Go get it waxed.
No, I'm not saying wax it or shave it. I'm just saying, you know, a good eighth of an inch. It shouldn't be poking out right here, dude. It really shouldn't.
Damn,
Okay.
Mike.
I mean, that's
Hey,
not
man.
manscaping. That's just not looking.
Some
ghetto,
brothers
that
just
is.
got testosterone, man. They're just growing hair all over the place, man.
No, it's not testosterone. It's they're
Oh
40 years
my
old.
man.
They haven't trimmed this since ever. You know, it's been growing since sixth grade. That's what's going on.
Sam Selena's giving the throw up emoji, dude. Like, that's gross, man. Like Along Came Polly. Yeah, that was nasty, dude.
Oh yeah, exactly. Now I don't think I've seen that movie, but I've seen that scene where he's playing basketball. His face hits the guy's sweaty stomach or whatever that was.
Yeah, and
Jeff?
he's all hairy and yeah, man, that's
Uh,
nasty, dude.
that's gross, dude. That's
Shirts or
gross.
skins. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm good.
I know who my teammates are. Why do I take off my shirt? I mean, what's
Yeah,
up with
man.
that? Shirts and skins.
Yeah, that's an old school when you go to the court. Come on, man, let's play shirts and skins. I'm like, why? You already know who your teammates are. There's no need for that, man. It's like that's gross, dude.
I saw a TikTok about how orderly basketball games are, and it was this woman. I forgot her name, but I follow her on TikTok pretty frequently. She's very funny. She makes fun of sports all the time, but she does it from like a female perspective. She's not a fan, but she watches it because of her husband. And she was talking about how her husband goes and plays basketball on Saturday mornings, right? And goes to the gym and whatnot. And she asked him the question, how do the games like function? Like, what if no one picks you? And he was saying, oh, well, no, you just kind of pick teams and whoever wins stays on the court. Whoever loses, get off the court. And there's like a transition of power. You know, the losing team automatically, like you never see a losing team try to stay on the court, right? Losing team knows they have to get off the court, next five are up, and how orderly it is. And I was thinking about that because she was saying how are strangers who don't know each other coming together to play basketball and then cooperating enough where it's just standard practice that the losing team gets off the court and no one complains. And I thought about it, I was like, man, as a kid, no one complained. Yeah, you know, I used to play it just for feet back in the day with my friends. Remember they used to have that basketball court on top of the building?
I remember that.
You know, and the goal was to be there as long as you can, because if you lose that game, you're going to have to sit out for like an hour, hour and a half. And, go to Garza Park. What's that one with Joe Ward? What's that one over in Five Palms area that
Miller's Pond?
Miller's Pond, man.
Yeah, man.
Dude, inside the Miller's Pond gym, I was very good. Outside on the double rims, I sucked ass.
You were cheeks, man, outside. It's hot, dude.
Yeah, man. I couldn't do the Sidney Dean from White Man Can't Jump. You know, I couldn't adjust for the 6 to 8 inches. That's not Sidney, that's Billy Hoyle saying, yeah, the wind makes the ball go 6 to 8 inches. By the way, speaking of those two, Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, I was wanting to watch the movie, and I was hoping that it was free, but apparently it's not. The movie Wildcats.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Goldie Hawn, yeah.
Okay, first of all, that movie came out in the mid-'80s. White Men Can't Jump came out in the early 90s. That movie Wildcats had Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes Woody Harrelson, what did he do? He went from being quarterback to tight end, I think. He became Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
And then Wesley Snipes was one of the star players on that team. That was a good movie. I remember I watched that from the get-go growing up. I liked me some Wildcats. And then the big dude who would jump up to block the field goal.
Yeah.
That was funny. We got boxing today, don't we?
Yeah, one of the things we're going to talk real quick about as we end the show here is that we got a big night of not only boxing with Canelo fighting, we also have the UFC. One and done is what Dana White has said. It's going to be the noche. And this is going to be interesting, dude. This pay-per-view here, which I believe is UFC 306, is going to be held inside the Las Vegas Sphere. So it's touted as being a very unique event because it's going to be one of the first professional sports event that's actually held inside the Sphere. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with this. And they got some great headliners here. Mm-hmm. You're going to have Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Devilishvili, and then you're going to have Grasso versus Shevchenko, which Shevchenko, she's been losing the last couple of fights that she's had. So hopefully here she can go ahead and right the ship and get a win here. But I got to tell you, man, out of the two fights here that are going to be happening where you have UFC 306 versus the boxing event with Canelo, man, the UFC is going to be where it's at. I'm going to be honest, man. I'm still going to watch the Canelo fight because I'm a big boxing fan, but I'm going to have it on the other TV. It's going to be on the smaller screen. I'm going to watch the main event, which is Noche, over here on the UFC on ESPN Plus. So check that out, boys. You want to do something on the weekend. And the thing is, the night of sports is going to be insane because then you have the UT versus UTSA going on at the same time. You have the Noche prelims and the Noche pay-per-view. Then you're going to have the boxing prelims and then the main event as well. I mean, it's a great night of sports on Saturday. So make sure you're somewhere with your friends. You're enjoying the night, drinking some brews, man. It's going to be a good one.
Sam Salinas reaches out and says, "You ugly. What? You ugly. What? UGLY. You ain't got no alibi. You ugly. What? You ugly." Why I remember that at 47 years old. By the way, I'm looking at a tweet right now. Superstar rapper Lil Wayne got emotional because he was snubbed from the Super Bowl halftime performance. The Super Bowl halftime performance is going to be there in New Orleans this upcoming February. And Lil Wayne is from New Orleans, and he was snubbed instead they got Kendrick Lamar. So he's upset. Says it hurt a lot. I thought there was nothing better than that spot on that stage, on that platform. It broke me, but I'm just trying to put myself back together. Lil Wayne showing some emotion.
But Lil Wayne ain't the same performer he was back in the day. He did a performance, remember, a live performance, and people were giving him crap about it because he was absolutely booty crumbs, dude. He was cheeks for his live performance. How do you think he's going to do at a Super Bowl pay-per-view? I think this is a blessing in disguise for Lil Wayne because he's just not that same type of performer. Being at the Super Bowl, you're on the biggest stage. And if you're not, on your A game, I mean, the people are brutal as far as criticizing you right afterwards. And if he's not bringing it, they're just going to rake him, dude, through hot coals, man.
Right. I would have liked to have seen Little John after seeing him at the Democratic National Convention.
You gonna hear that?
Turn down for what?
Oh God, man!
Has there been a Pitbull Super Bowl?
Because I don't think so. I hate Pitbull, dude. I can't stand Pitbull, man. Dude, I don't like him.
I couldn't stand him for about 5 years, but over the last 3 or 4, dude. My daughter Gabby's a huge Pitbull fan, and she changed my opinion on him. I was listening to that song that he did with Neo the other day.
He's Time
of My Life. It's a good song, man. I knew my rent was going to be late about a week ago. It's a great line.
Yeah, I'm good, dude. I mean, I'm all for, us Latino people, doing our thing, man. But I just don't care for the dude, man. Not saying anything bad about him. I just don't like the music. I'd rather listen to some cumbias, listen to some Tejano or something going on in the background. I just never got into Pitbull, dude. He's all right, I guess, but not my thing.
Hand of a Fist is saying that Canelo's fighting some Edgar. Is that true?
Yeah, man. He's fighting some scrub. You see, the thing is, man, with Canelo, Canelo's at the end of his career, dude. So he's picking fights that are easy wins for him. They're not entertaining. They're not fun to watch. He's just getting a paycheck. he dispatches these fighters in the 7th, 8th round. I mean, it's he's fighting a nobody basically.
Yeah.
Just because he wants to go ahead and get a paycheck, and he's getting criticized for it. But again, he's at the tail end of his career. He doesn't really need to fight nobody anymore. It's like at this point, Canelo, you had a good run, dude. Just hang it up, dude.
Sam Salinas comes out and says, "Seems like a good dude, but Pitbull's music sucks." Mario Cavazos comes out and says, "Dale."
Nah, man, I'm good, bro. Nah, I'm good, man. Oh, they're saying Puerto Rican music is weird, and then Chris Lea, Pitbull is Cuban, y'all fools, y'all wild.
Dude, I like Pitbull, dude. And I don't know if you've ever seen the story that Pitbull has. He takes his teacher around all the time, like his favorite high school teacher, because apparently he would tell teachers in high school that he wanted to be an entertainer and a producer and whatnot, and they called him dumb, apparently, saying that he was not educated enough and he wasn't going to be successful. And apparently there was one teacher that said, "You can actually follow your dreams and make this happen." And that one teacher has been at his side for the longest time. Oddly enough, bit of a nugget, that teacher.
Yeah.
But Miami teacher's hot. It happens. But anyway, he has been talking about her for years. Takes her to a lot of concerts, brings her on stage every once in a while. I find that to be very cool because having a teacher who believes in you sometimes is the difference between being a success or a failure. Sometimes it's great to see Pitbull do that. Pitbull donates a lot of money to charity. We had Johnny Walker on earlier. Johnny Walker is a head coach of Somerset Academy Collegiate, and that's over on 410 it's off of Vance Jackson near 410. They're part of the SLAM program, which is part of Pitbull's thing. I mean, Pitbull raises money for these schools. So there's a San Antonio connection to it all. But Pitbull, whether you like his music or not, he gives up a lot of money and time to charity. So I got to respect him for that, man, and for kids' education and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with Pitbull. I'm okay.
You're
I'm
down
okay.
with Pitbull.
I'm kind of down with it. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. Again, this weekend we have UTSA against UT. That's going to be a big game tomorrow. It should be a blowout. Cowboys noon against the Saints. I think that's going to be a close game. I think the Cowboys are going to win that game. And then you've got the Texans taking on the Bears. Sunday Night Football. Give me the Texans all day, every day. I think again for the Cowboys game, I'll put some money on the Cowboys to win because I win either way, right? Cowboys win, I get some money. Cowboys lose, my Saints win. I win either way. That's the way that I'm going to play it, man. Maybe do a teaser or something. But everyone, have a fantastic week. If you do fantasy football, set your lineups. Don't be that guy that forgets to set your lineup. Okay, don't be that dude. Okay, replace the injured players, man. Do that. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. Have a fantastic week. I'll be doing this show possibly from Houston again on Monday, possibly from Corpus Christi on Tuesday. We shall see. I go where the money is, man. I'm a financial guy, 210-508-0369. If you need help with investing, help with insurance planning, that is me. Everyone have a fantastic day. We'll be back on Monday. See ya.
See you guys. Peace.